Back down to London for Mark Warburton, age 58, who is the QPR boss, previous manager of Brentford. I think they ignore that. Glasgow Rangers and Nottingham Forest. And a lot of this stacks up quite well, actually. So joined May 2019. Promoted from League One with Brentford. They did actually finish in the playoffs the next season, didn't they, Brentford? But whatever fallout with Matthew Benham was happening then, and he was already going to be going before then. Couldn't even take them into the Premier League, couldn't he, for goodness sakes? He won the Scottish Championship. That's not the Scottish Premier League. That's the Scottish Championship with Rangers. Forest, look, can we judge it? He was there for 7 months or something, and they didn't give him the patience, frankly, that QPR have given him to, get his systems and everything working and build the pattern of play. So QPR, he's been at 2 seasons, and yes, he did have Eze in the first season. He did have Hugill and Wells on loan, and they scored loads and they conceded loads, and they were good fun, weren't they? But last season, look, take out Eze, take out Hugill, take out Wells, and he built that team quite nicely. They weren't very good for the first half of the season, and then really went for it in the second half of the season once Austin and Johansson arrived, and De Vries as well. And I don't know, you're going into 3rd full year of management with a progression. They create stars, don't they, QPR? It's London as well, so you get the London tax on the players. But so there's like Dickey there. Dieng's been very good, hasn't he? Chair is still there as well. They've managed to sell on Eze and Bright Samuel. I think they got a fee for in the end, whatever deal they did with the it was Fenerbahce, wasn't it? So it does, in terms of a long-term progression, look like one that, if it goes the next phase, could be a playoff challenge for QPR. Could always go the other way, though. It's the Championship. Let me know what you think. The experienced Mark Warburton, who looks like he's doing good things at QPR. We call him a dark horse, or is that damning with faint praise? Let me know what you think in the comments. Off we go to Reading and Veljko Paunovic, who we have now known for a season in the Championship. He had previously managed Serbia under 18s, under 19s and under 20s, as well as the Chicago Fire. And he won the under 20 World Cup with Serbia. 1 full season with Reading. And even though his season went really, really good, okay, average, just miss out on the playoffs. He did a good job, didn't he? He took them from 14th up to 7th. And yeah, look, they had that outrageous start. They won 7 and drew 1 of their first 8 games. And then it was a gradual death by 1,000 cuts out of the playoffs. And in the end, they drop out. But I bet, in my parallel universe, if John Swift and Yaku Maite had been fit all season, Liam Moore had a long time out as well, didn't he? Omar Richards as well. I think they would have finished in the playoffs, wouldn't they? So, look, he had a very solid system with 4-2-3-1 and Laurent and Renamotor. Had to use Elise, who's now been sold as well, more than probably he wanted to. I think there's problems with Maite and an injury as well. So, we will see. There's also financial issues, and we know it's quite tight, and embargoes and sanctions never feel that far away at Reading, do they? And I hate to say, even the best managers, if you stick them in those conditions, struggle, don't they? So let's see. Set the bar high. So 14th under Bowen, 7th under Paunovic. Higher, lower, in the middle. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. 2nd season of Veljko Paunovic in the Championship. And, here's a big Championship name, and it's Sheffield United. And it's a big name at a club that we'll be expecting to get promoted as well. Jukanovic in at Sheffield United. And I know we've had Houghton promoted twice. And I know we have had Warnock promoted many times, McCarthy promoted twice. But this is far more recent, isn't it? It's 14-15 with Watford and 17-18 with Fulham. He's been promoted. Look, he's managed all over the place. Look, Partizan, Muangthong, Levski, Hercules, Watford, Maccabi, Fulham and El Garafa. Don't know where that is. one of the Arab states, I think he was managing. Presumably that was quite nicely paid. But he is back in English football with a reputation for good football. The Fulham team was really good. Really, really good. 4-3-3. Sessegnon down the left. Fredericks down the right. And Mitrovic, okay on loan. Mitrovic is always helpful. Kearney, Johansson, McDonald in midfield. Cabano. Used to really enjoy Floyd Aite. What happened to him? I used to really enjoy watching that side playing. And they grew into both seasons and went on really good runs in those two seasons. 16-17, 17-18 to make the playoffs and ultimately win the playoffs. Didn't stick with him in the Premier League, and I think they had Ranieri in after about 5 games or something, which seemed odd. What are you going to do, hey? I like Jokanovic a lot. I can't speak too much about the Watford team as well, because I think they had 4 managers that season as well. I think that was pretty chaotic, and he managed to get them up in second place, didn't he? Who won that season? Was it Bournemouth? I think won the title that season. I like him a lot, and I like Sheffield United a lot. It was a great story watching them go League One, Championship, automatic promotion, 9th in the Premier League. Obviously, the Chris Wilder days are over now, sadly, but they are not sat in the Championship now as a big club who's stagnated a bit in League One for 6 years. No, they are coming down with the glorious Year 1 parachute payment and a manager who's been twice promoted. They will be expecting to be promoted this season. Can Jokanovic deliver what he has delivered twice before? Probably no more 3-5-2s in and overlapping centre-backs that Wilder was often boringly referred to and famous for, but they'll expect the same result, and Wilder got them second place with no parachute payments or 20 million quid strikers like Ryan Brewster or midfielders like Sander Berger. So should be the bones of a squad there and a manager who can do a job. Competent, stable, parachutes, Premier League players. Smells like a promotion if you do the job well, doesn't it? Will he? Slavica Jokanovic, let me know in the comments. And here is Michael O'Neill, who I would have to say, even though I like him very much, would be in the Tony Mowbray camp as someone who was being questioned at the end of last season. It's another Stoke City manager here, and 15th and 14th with Stoke, and he'd previously been with Brechin, Shamrock, Northern Ireland for 9 years as well. League of Ireland titles with Shamrock. And the problem with 15th and 14th at Stoke is that Stoke were in the Premier League for years, came down with the parachute payment, spent loads under Rowett, built a squad. Then Nathan Jones brought in a whole load of new players. Massive squad, huge squad. Premier League players, Rowett players, Jones players. Then Michael O'Neill comes in and seems to consolidate things. And I think there was a stat that for his games, I guess he arrived after like 15 or 18 games or something like that. 14? I don't know. Anyway, for his games in that first season he was at Stoke, they were like, I don't know, somewhere between 4th and 8th or something. So I assumed, roll that into next season, they're finishing the playoffs. And perhaps if Tyrese Campbell hadn't been injured, they would have got closer. But to tail off down into 14th place, I didn't see that one coming, I have to say. So huge financial losses. The Bet365 people have addressed all of that. They've sold Nathan Collins. I just felt, and the same thing I said about Gary Rowett, although Gary Rowett had Millwall much higher. Loves a draw, loves the pragmatism, loves a clean sheet, doesn't he? And sometimes when that tails off, you go on a long winless run. So I would suggest, along with Tony Mowbray, who I like very much, I like both of these managers very much, it's not a hatchet job on either of them, that they're going to need a decent start. And, I mean, let's be frank, Stoke did have a decent start last season and were in and around it, but just tailed off horribly in the end, didn't they? And expectations high at Stoke, and a couple of people suggested to me last season, oh, maybe he was a good international manager, and with an underdog, and Stoke is a big club who's been in the Premier League, and expectation, I don't know, does it add up? Let me know. Do we see the tail off that we saw at the end of last season, or do we see that first pretty much 30 or 40 games under O'Neill where they were very viably challenging? Let me know what you think. Could go one or two ways, that one, couldn't it? Michael O'Neill at Stoke. And here is Steve Cooper, who we mentioned at the top of the video, was linked with the Palace job and part of that merry-go-round when the Wolves job came up and the Spurs job came up. Was one going to go to the other and all of this? Well, no. He's still at Swansea. He's only 41. He's done 2 full seasons at Swansea. You can see his background there. England under-16 and under-17 manager. Won the FIFA under-17 World Cup. You can thank him for Foden and Hudson-Odoi and or some help towards their development. Sancho as well. And he's finished 6th and 4th with Swansea and lost to Brentford twice in the playoffs. Once in the semi-final in 1920, in the final last season. I like Steve Cooper very much, and I think he's done a very decent job at Swansea when one considers that they've now gone through and finished their parachute payments. And have they really spent any of them? I know Andre Ayew was on a nice thick old wedge, wasn't he? But, do they blow loads of money on players disproportionately compared to what comes in when Dan James has been sold, Joe Rodon's been sold, Ollie McBurney has been sold. I'm sure there are others that I'm failing to remember. And Cooper still kept them up there in the top 6 and challenging. And let's be quite honest, who did he lose out to? Norwich and Watford, 2 year one parachute teams. Brentford, who've been building and were very good for ages, really. So, wrong place, wrong time. In another year, could he have got them up? Possibly. I don't know. That parallel universe doesn't exist, does he? It's going to need to be more rabbits out of hats from Cooper. I know they've actually signed a striker now, haven't they? Joel Pirro. At time of recording. I'm sure there'll be more ins and outs all over the place here. But can he do the rabbit out of a hat trick for the 3rd year running and get another playoff finish? Would Swansea fans be happy with that? I know they were used to Michael Laudrup and Brendan Rodgers, and Cooper does like a back 3 and to sit in as and when they need to. But look, 6th place, 4th place, are they going to be higher or lower than that next season? You tell me. Highly rated Steve Cooper, but the job gets harder now, in my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And last but not least, the star probably of last season, given that the automatic promotion winners had both had year one parachute payments, and Brentford have been building for ages. The story was probably Valeri Ismael taking Barnsley up from 21st to 5th. Barnsley finished 5th. Glorious stuff. So previously been in the Europa League with Lask, as it says there, 45 years old. Joined June 2021. That cannot be correct. Sorry. I must have copied and pasted that. What did it say about Cooper on the last one? June 20. There you go. Should have changed that. My bad. He did not arrive then. When did he arrive? He arrived in about September, October 2020, I think, Ismael. Someone double check me on that. I think my slides have been all correct all the way through. Anyway, manager at FC Nuremberg, Wolfsburg, Apollon, Lask, who he had that Europa League run with. Look, when I say Ismael took Barnsley from 21st to 5th, well, he did and he didn't, because there was some good work done before then with Struber and particularly with recruitment. I mean, who did he really add? Carlton Morris in January and Daryl Dike, excuse me. Yeah, they were good players, but he had the basis of what he was using. So I think there'd been a lot of good work, but this very direct, very high pressure, mega pressing style that we saw for Barnsley was insane, wasn't it? It was so brave, and just for a quote, small championship team. And don't give me that guff about, oh, Barnsley They've got rich owners, blah, blah, blah. You're not allowed to spend the money, are you, for goodness sake? You can have £10 billion in the Championship, but you can still spend about 2% of what a parachute team can spend with a £13 million limit losses per year. So, fabulous job at Barnsley. And I haven't even mentioned West Brom, where he has jumped to, and he's got one of those plush year one parachute jobs. West Brom just relegated from the Premier League. They've bounced, haven't they? Down for 2 seasons, one under Darren Moore, one under Slaven Bilic. Up they go. Bilic lasts until October. Big Sam comes in. I personally believe if Big Sam had been there about 8 weeks longer, they would have stayed up. I think I saw enough of a pattern to say that they probably would have cobbled together 37, 38 points or something. But we'll never know, will we? And Big Sam didn't want to come and work in the Championship. More's the pity. I think he would have been quite fun, wouldn't he? There we go. We could have enjoyed some Big Sam press conferences. Anyway, out he goes. And look, it's the hot young thing, isn't it? This manager that came in and just took the league by storm with a team that just avoided relegation, finished in the playoffs, lost in the playoff semi-finals to Swansea, didn't they? The only question I've got is, can he get the West Brom players to buy in the same way and as quickly as the Barnsley players did to this 3-4-3 with the centre-backs on halfway and the ball often crashing forward and pressure, wing-backs so far forward it's almost scary. Forwards pressing, swapping 3 forwards at a time. It was quite thrilling to watch, but it worked, didn't it? So can you get the West Brom players to buy into that? And if so, as quickly as the Barnsley players did? He took captain Alex Mowat with him in one of the more predictable transfer moves. So my question to you is, will Ismael be anywhere near as successful with essentially an ex-Premier League club with more money and more resources and probably some more experience and a few more high-quality players than Barnsley had? It sounds like a recipe for success, but it doesn't always work out that way. Let me know how you think Valeri Ismael will do. And there you go. That was all 24 Championship managers. An hour long, meet the managers stream of consciousness from me. Let me know your thoughts on Championship managers this season. Here's some questions for you if you have lasted to the end. Who'll still be in the job at the end of the season? Who's got the easiest job? Who's got the hardest job? And the horrible question, who's going to be the first one to go? Because there will be a first one to go. And let's be honest, it'll probably be around October, November time as well. It just always happens, doesn't it? That is our Championship roster for the season. And where are we? July the 14th. We are now building everything up for the start of the Championship season. And that first game, Friday the 6th of August, is only a few weeks away. We've got a full canon of content, the normal stuff from last season, all planned out. If you're new around here, are you a Peterborough fan or a Hull fan? You should have met me before if you're a Hull fan, because we covered you in 1920. Who else went up? What about Blackpool fans? Let me know. Say hello. Join me for the season. And are you back in it? Sheffield United, West Brom and Fulham. We've all met before, haven't we? And hopefully we'll have plenty of subscribers who have gone right through with us. Quick aside, I do have a child due on August the 7th, the day the season starts. So I may disappear for a short while, but I will not be gone long. Don't you worry about that. So hit that subscribe button and get involved and get in the comments as we meet the managers and give me your say on this hardy bunch of 24 that will start, but maybe not finish the season. And I was just about to say 3 of them will be promoted, but hey, the 3 that got promoted last season, Munoz wasn't even in at Watford at the start of the season and he went up. So there you go. Maybe 2. At least one of them is going to be promoted, for goodness sake. The Championship, everybody. And those are the managers. I've had my say. You have yours in the comments. And it's a big lovely over and out. From me, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.